All right, we're going to talk about the vulnerability assessment of Tim Dang's system. My name is Austin Utherlong, and this is for System Security 2, ISA 4220. So first, let's discuss the executive summary. This is the subject matter of this assessment. We'll examine and evaluate the results of his servers, the criticality of his servers, how many findings, and provide recommendations, and state the overall conclusion of security of his servers. The assessment was conducted through NIST, or the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and Greenbone, which is a service that scans the box for any vulnerabilities, provides feedback of the vulnerabilities, and assigns numeric values to the severity of the vulnerability by using the Common Vulnerabilities Scoring System, or CVSS for short, with a range between 0 to 10. Now let's briefly go over the checklist of required services. Tim's Linux server is IP address that ends in 43, and his Windows server ends in 44. So we can see that Tim has all the required applications installed, AppArmor, Apache, HTTPS, POP3, S, IMAPS, DNS, PostgreSQL, and SSH, but the only service that he does not have is SMTPS, or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol Secured, which is unavailable. So now we're going to talk about the criticality of the findings. We're going to start from the highest criticality to the lowest. Of course, we want to take care of the biggest problem first that poses the biggest threat, and that would be for port 25, because it has a score of 7.6 according to the NIST CVSS. And the problem here is that SMTP is not installed, and the required services aren't installed either, such as postfix for Linux and IIS for Windows. And even if it was installed, port 25 would need to be blocked or disabled, and port 465 for SMTPS would need to be enabled. Next, we have port 443 or HTTP, and Greenbone gave us a score of 5.0. And the problem here was that the weak SSL cipher suites were accepted, and attack vectors exist on HTTPS services. And in addition, port 80 is enabled, which is unsecure and unnecessary, and that should be disabled or blocked. And next, we have the medium criticality of 4.3 for port 995, 993, and 5432. And the issue for these three was that the weak cipher suites are accepted, and the RC4 encryption is also accepted, but it is insecure, as well as using 1024-bit RSA authentication and using cipher suites 64 bits or less is also insecure, since they will be more vulnerable to brute force attacks. And for the last medium critical vulnerabilities is the DH key, which has a score of 4.0. And the strength of the DH key exchange group is inefficient. And the DH key is actually a way of exchanging keys over a public network, which is insecure due to the process happening over an insecure channel. And an attack may be able to decrypt the SSL TLS communication offline. And lastly, We have general TCP, which has a score of 2.6, the lowest criticality, and the side effect of the RFC 1323 TCP is that the uptime of the remote host can usually be computed, and the remote host implements TCP timestamps and therefore allows to compute the uptime. And affected softwares and operating systems include all TCP implementations that utilize RFC 1323. So now we're going to go over the hardening recommendations, starting with the highest criticality. And first, we want to install postfix for the Linux server, and this can be done through the following command. And second, once that is done, we actually want to block port 25 because it is an insecure channel. And for the Windows server, we want to install SMTPS and the ISS server. And this can be done through the server manager, and clicking on row-based installation, and then clicking server selection and select SMTP server feature and install. Then you actually want to go to the IIS 6.0 manager, then go to properties, then the general tab, and click advanced and change the TCP port to 465, which is the secure version of SMTP. And we want to block port 25 through the Windows firewall, which can be done by going through the inbound roles and clicking on Advanced Security Settings, and then navigate to the Actions pane where you can actually block port 25. The next one is for port 443. So to disable the weak ciphers, you actually want to type in the following command. And for Windows, you want to configure the Windows firewall to block port 80. And it follows the same steps as the previous one. And instead of blocking port 25, you're blocking port 80. And to disable the weak cipher suites on IIS, just type in the following command. Now we're going to talk about how to harden port 995, 993, 5432, and general TCP, since all the issues are the same. For Linux, to block the cipher suites, just use the following command and apply the settings with system control-P. And to disable the RC4 encryption method, use the following command. And for Windows, to disable the TCP timestamps, we can use that following command there to disable that. And finally, for the DH keys, you want to deploy ECDH with that following command in order to make the keys more sufficient, and to increase the key size to 248 bits to make it stronger. That can be done using the following command as well. So in conclusion, the state of Tim Dang servers contain mostly moderate criticalities as well as a single low and high criticality. Both servers are not in ideal shape in its current condition, but it can be remediated once the recommended steps are implemented. Many of the findings have similar repetitive problems, but that can be corrected as well. So this concludes the vulnerability assessment presentation. I want to thank you guys for watching and for watching all my videos throughout the semester. And I hope everyone is staying at home and staying safe under COVID-19. And have a good one.